This is a jackfruit test. Or in Thai is tam khanut. Or in northeast of Thailand, tam mak mee or soup mak mee. Very yummy. อร่อยมากค่ะ
อร่อยมาก
แต่ว่าเผ็ดมาก
Thank you.
Cause I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again. Oh baby, I hate to go. There's so many times I've let you down, so many times I've played around. I tell you now, they don't mean a thing. Every place I go.
Alright, so heading home now for a few hours before the next thing starts. So highlights from today, probably music and food so far, and just catching up with people. There are a few people from uni here I ran into. It's another good thing about these sorts of things, since I don't really make a lot of time for socialising, given the PhD situation. So I'll see you in a few hours.
Hold me like you never let me go.
Okay, so I'm at the Indian thing now. I'm here with Murali. Say hi.
Hi.
I have a dot on my head. What? What's it
It's
called?
kumkum.
And what is the significance of it?
It's like an Indian culture. It predicts like it's if you keep a kumkum dot, it signifies that all energy will focus on your forehead. That's why they keep it. It's spiritual.
So it's going to help you dance tonight?
Yeah, actually.
Alright, first round of food. We've got a samosa, some biscuits, some chai. Indian food wins over Thai food today because the Indian food is free.
I love her. मैं उसे दुख नहीं पहुंचाना चाहता हूँ. Besides, नैना अमन से प्यार करती है. Unavailable. जमीन देख, मिट्टी गंदा कर दिया है. इसको देख, जुआरी शराबी बना दिया.
Line got really big while I was taking photos. I don't think I'm getting any food. I bailed on the food line. My housemate Vickers, this dude here, got me this mango stuff. Pretty awesome. I found a corner to talk in. Hopefully you can hear me alright. It's kind of a crazy party in there right now. So the other thing I wanted to talk about culture that came up earlier was the concept of cultural relativism, which is something that I guess lingers a bit more in anthropology than culture itself. Just like culture, some people think the concept isn't analytically useful anymore. But I quite like it. It's what really drew me to anthropology in the first place. And if it's not self-evident from the word, it's the idea that cultures all make sense relative to each other. A lot of the things that some people might think of as irrational or inhuman or that sort of thing are logical and do make sense. A lot of people who have a problem with cultural relativism kind of equate it with moral relativism, in the sense that they think because we're wanting to understand everything and say, okay, this isn't horrible within its own system. It makes sense. It serves a purpose. That we're therefore saying it's okay and we condone absolutely anything, which is not at all the case. It's quite the opposite, actually. Cultural relativism for me is really important for pushing for change and putting an end to things that we don't like. Because when you better understand how something operates, you're going to be able to address it more appropriately. So particularly things like female genital mutilation or genocide or racism or any of those really horrible things that are in the world, it's really important to acknowledge that they're human, and that's where cultural relativism is helpful. Anyway, none of that's really relevant today because we're just dancing to lots of music and having fun. If you are more interested in the academic debates about that concept though, two of the big people who kind of went at it, like I don't know, 10 or 20 years ago, I forget exactly, Sahlins and the other one I only know his surname and I'll pronounce it terribly, it's Obeyesekere. I'll put a thing with that on the screen. I'll put reference details in the description for you if you want to go look those up. I had resigned myself to not getting any food. Here it is. I'm very pleased about this. Alrighty, I'm calling it a night. Party's still going in there. One other thing I meant to say at some point today was that even if you don't have fun songs and dances, you still have culture. So whatever definition of culture we use, make sure it includes everybody. Because, you know, even if you think you don't have culture or you're uncultured, you still have culture. Like being fascinated by possums. I don't know if you can see. It's pretty dark. There's a possum over there. Sometimes they're really friendly. And that's what culture is for people who aren't anthropologists and don't overthink it. Lots of dancing and music and eating and being together and all that fun stuff. You may notice also I ditched the banner at the start. I just didn't like it. So, you know, so don't be surprised if I just change stuff as I go. I'll probably settle into a routine eventually, but I'm still trying to just kind of experiment a bit with what works and what doesn't work here. And don't be surprised if the tone is quite different between episodes. Some of these will be more serious than others, and some will be pretty lighthearted. Like this one was a little of both, but it was mostly just running around looking at music and stuff. So, you know, there'll be plenty of that, and plenty of talking about academic stuff as well here and there. So I was gonna make a video giving you guys a proper tour of the office, and all of that jazz. Show you around what I do every day. I'll give you a sneak peek now. That's my shelf. I hope Luke doesn't mind me showing his half of the office. There's not really anything there anyway. But yeah, then this came up, so I thought I'd do this. And next I'll have a video about stuff in Melbourne that I'm doing this week. And then I'll do the day in the life of thing. So if you look forward to watching those, please click subscribe and I'll see you next time.